Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good morning to all the viewers. I'm Hiral Tatia. Clearly, the narrow range does continue in today's session as well, but we're hovering around those 19,340 levels, below the 19,350 mark in trade as we speak. The advance decline ratio, though, is in favor of the advances. It's interesting to see what's happening with Bank Nifty as well. That's pretty much in line with the benchmark indices with gains of around 0.2% coming in there. Joining us on the show to discuss more in terms of what's in store for the markets and the stocks that are the movers and shakers of the day, we have Devarsh Vakil, Deputy Head of Retail Research at HDFC Securities, joining in. Devarsh, good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Devarsh, let's quickly just touch base in terms of what's happening with the Indian markets vis-a-vis global markets. Where do they stand and what's your view?
Right. Global macroeconomic situation is not that pretty. See, after years of lower interest rates and supportive monetary and fiscal policies, we see that the economies there have not performed to the extent the regulators hoped. The household debt in US is at a record high. They had savings during the COVID, which is now depleting at a very accelerated pace. The interest rate burden on treasury is almost doubled from the pre-COVID level. And now every year US will have to spend about $1 trillion just to repay the interest burden on the treasury which they have issued. The Chinese economies, as we know, is facing recession and deflation risk. The European Union has still not come out of the woods. The inflation problem is still there. In all these problems, we see that the Indian economy is doing quite well, and that's why we are seeing, compared to the global economy, a lot of money is actually chasing India. We have a bit of challenges in our economy also, mostly from the inflation point of view, but we are more or less behind it. And the high frequency data, be it the monthly GST numbers or PMI numbers, there we see that Indian economy is quite robust. So we expect that the even if the global economy were to falter, Indian economy will remain strong, and that's why we are likely to keep attracting a lot of global capital.
Right. So that's with regards to where macros are concerned. But moving on, let's look at stock specific action. You had Reliance Industries, which had the AGM yesterday. Post the AGM as well, you did see yesterday the stock was under pressure. Today as well, some bit of cuts coming in there. It seems that the street is not really enthused with the commentary. What's your view and what would you advise investors to do?
So yeah, they were expecting some big bang announcement, which usually happens through around the AGM or after the AGM, and that has not come, and that may have disappointed some short-term investors. But clearly, longer-term investors needs to take note of the a lot of developments which are happening in the Reliance Industries. Couple of things came out in from yesterday's AGM was that the next generation now comes under the board. So all three children are now on the board of the company. Isha, Akash, and Anant have joined the board, and they are on a fastest growing business of Reliance is going to be the retail. There, the further stake sales are likely. On the 5G side, the Geo side, rollouts are happening, and that is leading to the market share gain. They are likely to launch the Geo Air Fiber in September. The O2C business, the chemical and the petrochemical business, is looking to become net zero by 2035. So all these are longer term, very positive developments. I think Reliance is entering into new energy businesses, the carbon fiber business facility, the gigafactory. All these are investments for the future. So what Reliance has traditionally done is that they invest in a business, use that cash flow to generate into new businesses and keep growing. So now we see that the green energy business, a lot of investment is going on. We also heard that artificial intelligence space, they are putting in a lot of money. They want to harness the AI. They are rapidly augmenting their talent pool to attract business leaders into the company. So all these things I makes me really bullish on the company over the longer term. And as stock may not be for a short term investors, but at every decline or for a systematic investment investors SIP way, one can keep accumulating this company for a longer term. I think they have put in the seeds to grow it even higher from here.
Right. Moving on, Bharti Airtel has been in focus after the blocks that have happened in today's session. What's your view on the counter?
So Bharti clearly had been facing some challenges in the form of Reliance Jio and regulatory and political changes, but I think they are firmly now, all those challenges are behind them. It is again a company where investors can look to invest through SIP. They Bharti enjoys the industry leading average revenue per user (TRPU), and there from 190 200 rupees kind of ARPU, they have clearly said that they want to go towards 300 rupees per month. And the non-mobile revenue continue to grow quite fast. The fiber segment is growing quite fast. They are also investing about 27,000, 28,000 crore to expand their 5G rollout with the help of another partners like Qualcomm. And 3,000 new sites are likely to be up there. So new towers, new sites, all this will help them to garner business. So my view remains bullish. Now it's most more only two strong players are there in the country in the telecom sector. So both Reliance and Bharti Telecom will do well over a longer term because internet revenues will keep on growing. So this also is a good long-term systematic investment SIP plan. Investors can keep accumulating this company at a lower levels.
Right. Uh, Pyramid Enterprises is another one which did have their investor day yesterday. The stock saw some great momentum in yesterday's session, but some profit bookings coming in today. What's your view on a Pyramid Enterprises?
So that company is going through a transition. They had a wholesale book which it was stress, and they have recognized those assets and correspondingly made some provisions. Now they are shifting and growing towards the retail side. Almost 50% of the book is now on the retail side, and that's where they want to grow. They have divested the ownership of about 8% into Srinam Finance, and whatever proceeds they got from there will help them strengthen their balance sheet. In fact, they have announced a buyback also. I think 31st August, the buyback will start. About 1,750 crore worth of buyback of PEL shares they are going to do at 1,250 rupees per share by the tender route. So that will also help investors generate some kind of returns. Most of the companies who have surplus capital now using the buyback route to reward the shareholders instead of giving large dividends, because dividends are taxed little marginally higher than the way buybacks and the short-term capital gain tax are there. So buyback is there, which will support the prices at the lower level. And again, this is a stock where it is going through a transition. It's a leading diversified NBFC company, and I think they will pull through. So there also investors can accumulate at lower levels.
Right. Sun Pharma had its AGM as well yesterday, and a clear indication is that they're increasing their spends with regards to R&D. The guidance that they've given for FY24 as well, what do you make out of it?
So Sun Pharma, as we know, it's the largest Indian pharmaceutical company, and they have a strong track record, both on the organic side and the inorganic side. They have about lot of businesses which are coming out of US and India. 9% kind of share they have in India, and they have about 33 brands which are among the top 300 in IPM. What they have been recently doing in the last couple of years, they have made a significant investment into the specialty segment in the international market. There they are targeting the high growth potential businesses. They have done some acquisitions also to help them improve the quality of the pipeline in the specialty segment. This segment is about 7% of their revenue in last couple of years. Now they have scaled it up to about 16% of the revenue as of FY23. I think this is the key to the future of Sun Pharma. I think they will keep on increasing the revenue from the specialty segment, especially in the dermatology and the ophthalmology segment in US and Canada. If they can crack that business in those markets, they will be able to grow quite rapidly. The concern is if they are not able to ramp up that specialty portfolio, or if there is any US FDA problem in that segment, then this company could go down, and that kind of risk we have to live with the pharmaceutical company. But I think this company will be able to pull through. They have a strong balance sheet. They have a very strong free cash flow generation, and we think that this gives them the medium-term opportunity to grow the US business. So here again, investors can keep accumulating at lower level through systematic investment plan. This company can also grow in future.
Right. Devarsh, SJVN has been an interesting one on the back of the recent order wins as well. In fact, if you see the last 6 months' performance of SJVN, the stock has nearly doubled. Would you think it's still a good time to enter the stock, or would you advise booking profits?
So these companies have gone through a huge consolidation, and after that, these companies have almost doubled. I remember we had released a report in October around 35, 37 rupees. From there, right now it is trading around 62, 63. So huge run up have already happened in this company. So I'll be uh, waiting for a correction to enter such companies. These are good companies. They have so SJVN, as we know, is a hydropower generation company, and they have recently diversified into alternate energies like thermal, solar, wind, and also into power transmission. So government has given them freedom to invest into various segments, and they are growing quite rapidly. They were earlier trading quite attractively. Huge earnings growth has happened. The ROEs and the other parameters are strong, but recent run up makes me a little cautious on them. I think these are good companies, but we will wait for a correction to enter into them. Future of SJVN and other hydropower companies are very good because that is the segment where a lot of government investment is going on, and there is going to be a growth in the future. So if because of the market condition or because of some selling stock comes down at lower level, I'll be interested in this company.
Right. Devash, another one that comes to my radar is a macrotech developers, which is LUDA, which is seeing some smart moves in today's session. What's your view?
So here also the run-up has happened. Earlier, LUDA was available at a quite attractive valuation. Now, as we see, recent businesses, new projects in western suburb of MMR, the Alibag order, 100-acre, this development which they are doing are going to come at a little lower return ratios. The V hotel build, they have won about 60 to 70 billion rupees kind of new GDP will happen in the second half of FY24. So these are likely to help it to increase its development value, and that will support the future growth. But at these valuation, we had about 750 kind of a market price target for them. So at around 690 or all, there is some upside, but not very high amount of upside. So gradually add these stocks, and if they were to fall, maybe we can become a little more aggressive. But right now, I don't see more than 10-15% upside for these kind of companies. Mind you, these companies have come up from say 353 or 370 or to 680 now. So certain amount of run up has already happened, and we should wait for a more decline before entering into
Right,
these companies.
right. So these are a few of the newsmakers that we have been looking at as well. Thank you, Devarsh, so much for joining us on the show and sharing the views. And clearly, if you see from a market perspective as well, a 50 to 60 point range is what we are seeing so far in the first 2.5 hours of trade. And you have Bank Nifty as well, which is now seeming to correct and it's inching lower slightly. So we are hovering around those levels of 44,500 in terms of Bank Nifty. Interesting names that are seeing some good moves, like a Gokuldas Export that is stuck in upper circuit in today's session as well. You have Union Bank of India, which is seeing some smart moves, as well as the Finolex Industries. You have Zydus Wellness. These are a few of the names that are in focus as well. That's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching, and lots more lined up on the other side. Please stay tuned to Beacon Prime.